Hey guys, welcome back to another dream story. I'm going to apologize right at the start of this because this is going to have the worst audio quality. I am using my AI noise cancelling today, but today is my birthday and today it is absolutely boiling hot here. So I do have my fan on, and I think just for today, since I don't want to completely melt on my birthday, I'm going to leave the noise cancelling on. Hopefully you guys don't mind too much. Anyway, on to the story itself. So this dream starts off with me back in England where I grew up in my hometown. Now, unfortunately, even though in the past I managed to get myself to start doing reality checks anytime I was in my hometown and start realizing that I was lucid, I've noticed lately, like over the last few months or so, for some reason I never do my reality checks when I'm in my hometown. I never think it's suspicious or anything. So this dream was no different. This ended up just being a regular dream. But it was interesting because, first of all, it was a really, really long dream. Second of all, it was a really, really weird dream. And third of all, there was also a bunch of little dream control techniques thrown in there that I've picked up as habits from my lucid dreams. So I was back in my hometown and I was applying for a school, and it was like a sort of weird mix between a university and some other like higher education thing. Like I was going there to get some kind of special qualification or some training in something, but I'm not sure exactly what in. But it was weird because you had to get some sort of secret invite to join this school, and you had to meet at this special location that was like randomly out in nature in like a field or the woods or someplace like that. And you get given the location on the day and you'd have to go there. Now, when I got to the location, I realised I was in the wrong place, but the problem was I'd gotten a ride there and my ride had driven off. So now I was stranded at this wrong place in the middle of a field somewhere, not knowing where this location actually was. But I decided to walk down this nearby road, and I noticed there were some cars there that seemed to be parked, and I thought that was a little odd, and I thought maybe it might have something to do with this event. But I walked past the cars and I ended up at this road. And to the left of me on that road were regular lanes for cars. But to the right on the road, it was all bike lanes, as in bicycle lanes that only bicycles are allowed on. So it was this weird road where I guess the only way it would have worked is if everyone just parked their cars, got out bikes, and then started riding away. Because apparently my dream brain has some very interesting ideas about how roads should work. But anyway, on this road was like a navy blue sedan parked at the edge of the road, and the engine was running, but there was no one in the car. And I thought, why are all these cars parked around this area? So I turned back to where I found the earlier ones and I walked up to examine it. And I noticed there were some cars that had driven slightly into this wooded area. So I went in there and I saw that there were some people there. And all of these people were like laughing, chatting, and suddenly I realized this was the event. This was the event that I'd come to. Now, I walked a little closer to see what was going on. And basically, there was like this little shed or garage area. And inside it was like one of those white vans, but the doors were open. And inside the white van was just loads and loads of alcohol, like cans of beer, vodka bottles, whiskey bottles, all sorts. And apparently the test to be able to join this school was that you had to go into this van and you would get locked in there for a certain amount of time, and then you had to play a drinking game while you're in there. So I watched three people go in and do this, and then I informed the people that it was my birthday today, because interestingly enough, even though I was in this dream, I did know that it was my birthday today. And because of that, they decided to let me in on the next round. So I went in and suddenly I was with a bunch of friends that I used to go to school with, and we were all drinking in there, mixing different drinks and playing this drinking game. And it was weird because we were supposed to be in an enclosed van, but the van had no roof once we were in there, and there was like a crowd of spectators above, like giving us different tasks and different drinking game things to do. And so we stayed there for a while, and then suddenly all the other people disappeared, and I was just in the garage and there was no van anymore. I don't know where it disappeared to or where all the other people went off to, but I was chatting with another friend that I hadn't seen in a while, catching up with them and asking them if they wanted to hang out for my birthday. We agreed on a time to meet later, but then we basically started heading home. Now, when we left this area and started heading home, instead of the field that I'd been left in earlier, I was in this place that used to be near my old house that I used to call the Hills, quote unquote. That was what I called it when I was a little kid. And basically it was this like hilly area that I used to go with my dad and my dog to walk my dog. And I was walking through this area, walking with this friend, and he was going to head home and then come and meet me at the time we'd agreed upon. So he headed off towards his home, which unfortunately was all the way in Poland, so I imagine he probably would have never made it back in time. But I stayed in the park because I noticed there was a concert going on in the park, which, by the way, the concert was much larger than the entirety of that actual park was in real life, but somehow to my dream brain that made perfect sense. And I didn't have a ticket for this concert, but I could listen from outside, and there was some metal band that I liked playing. I can't now remember what band it was, but it was some band that I knew and that I liked when I was younger, and so I decided to stay there and listen. And for some reason, outside of the venue were these announcers, these people like announcing what was going on inside the venue and announcing what was happening with the music. But they were making it like really entertaining, like telling jokes and stories and stuff, almost like a podcast or something. And for some reason, everyone was like picking sides, like picking their favorite announcer that they liked and that they wanted to be rated the best announcer of the concert. And they were all named after Polish towns, and I liked the one that was named after a town that lived near me. And a bunch of us who also liked this same announcer ended up staying around and like chatting with him after the concert ended, which was only a few minutes after I got there. There was literally like one song that played and then the concert ended. But it's after this part, which by the way had already been going on for so long. The scene earlier with the truck, that truck scene felt like it was absolutely forever, like it was a really long dream in itself with just how long it was. So this was quite a gargantuan dream and definitely one of my longest of all time. But it's this next part where things just get balls to the wall weird. So I'm walking back through the hills and I run into my dad, and my dad tells me that he was walking my cat at the hills and my cat got loose. And I asked him how my cat got loose, and he said he let him off the leash and he wouldn't come back to get put back on the leash because he told my dad, and yes, told him in plain English in words, because in this dream my cat can speak, he told my dad that he had to find the back rooms. Whoever of you asked me in the comments the other day about like if I've ever been to the back rooms in a dream, one of you guys did this. Since then, I've both dreamt about going to the back rooms myself, and now I've dreamt about my cat searching for the back rooms, and I definitely think it was due to that comment. So I go around looking for my cat and I find him pretty quickly, but he like backs off from me immediately and he's like, dude, don't even try it. I know you're going to try to put me on that leash, but I'm not going to let you. I've got to find the back rooms. And if you guys have ever seen that like ancient show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, with like the talking cat that I used to sometimes watch when I was younger, that cat is the best that I can explain what my cat sounded like when he was speaking to me in the dream. Except that I think he had a British accent rather than an American one. But he was like equally sarcastic and like cracking jokes all the time and seemingly really annoyed with me and so on. And so at this point I'm like, fine, I guess we're going to look for the back rooms. But like, wouldn't you rather like come home and have some dinner first? Like, do you really want to go search the back rooms on an empty stomach? I was trying like everything to persuade my cat to just let me get him on this leash so I could get him home and then never let him off the leash again. But no, he was smarter than that. He saw through my tricks. He knew I wasn't actually like suggesting that we come back later. He knew that I really just wanted to get him home and like end his search for the back rooms. So he was like, no, and he kept looking. And by the way, how we kept looking for the back rooms was already by using a dream control technique where basically we would walk around in circles, knowing that as we walked around through the dream, we would basically be causing all the scenery around us to change into something else. I did not recognize that I was in a dream, I was not lucid, but I did recognize that by moving around, the scenery around me would change. I just knew this instinctively. And then something really weird happened. It suddenly got really dark. It was like the middle of the day when I'd met up with my cat here, and all of a sudden it was pitch black, the middle of the night. So I was a little bit unsettled. I was already a little bit unsettled by this whole search for the back rooms and the fact that my cat can now talk. But the fact that it just instantly turned to night, I didn't like being here. I started to believe that maybe my cat was right and maybe the back rooms were somewhere in this quote-unquote hills location. And so I became a little bit more desperate in my persuasion to try and get him to come home. And that wasn't working at all. And at this point we started encountering a bunch of portals to alternate dimensions, and we could see through them and see the other dimension on the other side. But none of these dimensions were the back rooms, so my cat was getting increasingly annoyed at this point and voicing it with all sorts of sarcastic comments, telling me that I was slowing him down and stuff, and that if he hadn't had me there trying to chase him, he'd have found them by now. And then all of a sudden I decided to look behind me, and when I looked behind me there was like this totem statue behind me. It was like this totem that was just completely black with like an offering bowl in front of it, and it had like wings coming out of it, and it looked slightly demonic, and it literally hadn't been there like 5 seconds before when I'd looked last, so it just appeared behind us. So I talked to my cat, and I don't know why I said this, given that I wanted him to come home and not find the back rooms. But I talked to my cat and I told him, you know what? I suspect to open the door to the back rooms, we have to make an offering at this little weird shrine totem thing that just appeared. And my cat at this point goes, no, 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 don't mind him. He does that all the time. He's just a bit weird. You don't need to make an offering. The back rooms are just around here. I've been here a million times before. Or some similar line to that effect. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing a bit. I don't have like word perfect memory of exactly the words that he said. So I decided to trust him on that, and I followed him a bit and kept looking for the back rooms. But then I decided to turn around again, and that statue was a lot closer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Doctor Who and the Weeping Angels, but yeah, it was something a little bit like that. Apparently this thing decided to move anytime that you're not looking at it and get closer to you. And I had the distinct feeling that just like the Weeping Angels, something very, very nasty was going to happen if that thing actually got a hold of us and touched us. So at this point, I just said to my cat, look, we either need to find these back rooms, make this offering, or just go home for dinner and come back another time. I don't really want to die out here, thank you very much. Especially not on my birthday. Like, can we not just come back tomorrow? But my cat wasn't having it, and so this was where I tried to use another bit of dream control. I realised actually earlier on in the dream that the reason that I couldn't catch him is because I didn't actually even have a leash on me to catch him. So I decided I could spawn one using dream control so that I could catch him. So I did that, I spawned myself a leash and I was going after him to go and catch him, but at this point he found the portal. He found the portal to the back rooms and I could see it in front of us. I could see the back rooms through it, and just as he was about to step into it, that is when I woke up and ended up writing this dream down. I hope you guys enjoyed that absolute trip of a dream like I did, and I want to know if you guys have any dream stories like that where you've carried over dream control techniques from your lucid dreams into your non-lucid dreams and started using them there. If you have, share them down in the comments below. If you'd like to have more weird and wonderful dreams like this, either through things like dream incubation or through getting better at your lucid dreams, then do check out the Lucid Dream book, for which there'll be a link in the top right hand corner and down in the description below. And I know it's my birthday, but I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of a present of my own this birthday, which is a 50% off discount code again. Use the code BIRTHDAY at checkout to get 50% off the book. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications if you want to stay up to date when my new videos come out. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care.